Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of Iron Port. This program is proudly brought to you by Syrian Insurance, Gual PLC, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Link, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. Our proud media partner is the Business and Financial Times. This program is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Now, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority embarked on a time-release study, and this particular study was meant to measure the time that it takes for goods to be cleared from the port. And so we had in the studio some three officials from the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority to tell us the outcome of this particular study and how long it takes for goods to be cleared from the port. Let's take a listen.
There seems to be some element of disparities in the study. For instance, that's with respect to clearance of cargo within the same location. You made mention in the study that, for instance, at the MPS Terminal 3, it takes like some 8 days after berthing to be able to clear your goods. And within the same enclave, that's the Tema enclave, you have others where you indicate that you can use 1 day, and others as much as 53 days. Why is there this kind of disparity?
Okay, so basically, as you would agree that even if you yourself, you are supposed to have a team to move from, let's say, this particular location to another location, you are not expecting that everybody, even though you have started the same time, will arrive at the destination the same time. But then you are looking at, on the average, how many people have arrived. So let's say everybody has arrived at the place, and you look at the average time. So what we did was to have sampled a number of transactions at these locations. So Dana mentioned earlier that our scope was within the Port of Tema, the Port of Tema, KIA, Aplau land border, and Paga. So when you come to the Port of Tema, we focused clearance at the Meridian Port Service Terminal, that is MPS 3. We focused that on Safe-Born Terminal. That is where the vehicles are cleared from.
Yes.
And then that for Golden Jubilee.
Yes.
For containerized cargoes that are not to be cleared at the MPS port.
Right.
When we get to MPS port itself, we sampled 402 transactions. So when we look at the 402 transactions, there are so many factors that could lead to a particular transaction being cleared very early or delayed in clearance. So we mentioned earlier that there are some regulatory requirements as well. So for example, if you take advantage of trade facilitation provisions that we have made, where you have submitted declaration to customs, you have taken decision on your consignment, and you have fulfilled all the regulatory requirements prior to arrival of the cargo, then very likely, if you are a compliant trader, then when your goods come, it will not be subjected to any physical inspection.
Right.
You are likely to take your goods very early enough. The same vein, at the same location, you may delay in submitting your declarations to customs. And then when processing is done, or you delayed in acquiring the regulatory requirements, when all these things have been delayed, then it is most likely that your clearance would also delay.
Right.
So if you look at what we have sampled, there were cases where people have taken advantage. In fact, majority took advantage of the trade facilitation provisions that the new system has given.
Right.
So they submitted declaration.
When you say new system, you're referring to ICOMS?
The Integrated Customs Management
ICOMS,
System,
yeah,
which we're using our ICOMS.
Right.
They submitted declaration and fulfilled all the regulatory requirements prior to arrival of the vessel. And depending on the selectivity, then it is either they go to the port and take delivery. So for those ones, they were quick clearance.
Right.
But for those that had delayed in submitting declaration, delayed in fulfilling regulatory requirements, it also delayed the clearance.
Right.
There were certain cases where the cargo had even arrived discharged and has stayed in our facility for quite a long time before they performed all these, they made all these fulfillments. Because of those ones, it actually delayed.
Right.
That is why you saw that case of the delay report. That is maximum. The minimum one was cases where they had done all those ones.
Right.
And the cargo did not go through any selectivity, yellow or red, but green. So they just went and took delivery of cargo. So that is what brought about the disparity in time.
Yes, you mentioned the MPS Terminal 3, you mentioned Golden Jubilee, you mentioned Safe Bond. And that was going to be my next question. How come there seemed to be some quick clearance over there?
So
Apart from the adherence to the trade facilitation provisions that you mentioned, were there any other factors that culminated or that, kind of like allowed that to happen?
if you again look at, people who are familiar with the port system know that MPS is both a place where cargo vessels discharge cargo and clearance is also done at MPS.
Right.
But there are cases where discharge of those cargoes require transfer to a different location.
Right.
That is where Golden Jubilee comes in. So when transfer is done, of course, then we are looking at how delayed the transfer has occurred. So in the study, it showed that it took about 4 days from discharge of cargo at MPS
Right.
and being transferred to the Golden Jubilee terminal. That alone was significant to bring the difference that you are seeing.
Yeah.
So MPS, where we had about on average 8 days, for Jubilee and Safe Bond, we had on average 14 days.
Right.
Because of that significant lag in transfer of goods from those terminals to locations.
All right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Let me come to Vero and find out from you. You didn't seem to have captured the port of Takoradi. What happened?
Thank you. When we were trying to scope the whole collections for the purpose of this study,
Yes.
we selected Tema, one seaport, one international airport, one land border for the purpose of petty trading, and one transit exit point. So Tema was chosen.
Right.
KIA, that is Kotoka International Airport, was chosen. Aflao was chosen for petty trading. And then Paga was chosen for cargo transiting from Tema to Paga.
Yes.
So that was done. Tema was chosen over Takoradi because of the volume.
Yes.
But Tema takes care about 70%
That's understandable.
of
Absolutely.
the import that comes. So it was right for us to choose Tema.
Smile, undoubtedly you've mentioned the fact that you work with other agencies, government agencies in the clearance chain and all that. I just want to find out from you whether the study, in a way, pointed to the contribution of some of these state agencies to delays in the clearance chain.
Okay, so again, because we have actually implemented the system that allows for you to make this, acquire this requirement way in advance of arrival of cargo. The study showed that majority of the cases, people took advantage of that and then they applied, got the regulatory requirements before cargo arrived. In fact, for cases where people did not and waited to do that on arrival, that affected clearance.
Right.
In the majority of the cases that they took advantage, that did not have a significant impact on the clearance. If you look at the regulatory agencies, there are some applications that will require you to go through government agencies to get it approved, especially for the grants of exemptions. But there are also applications that would require a single government regulatory agency's approval. So, for example, Food and Drugs Authority, PPRSD, Ghana Standards Authority, and any of those government regulatory agencies. In some of those agencies' approval, actually internal processes take time.
Right.
Some takes even up to 11 days. So you would imagine that if you delayed in submitting these applications to them, then it is obvious that your clearance would delay.
Yeah. So let me come to you, Vero, and find out from you what next after the release has been done. What's the action plan? She mentioned there was an action plan, which the recommendations have been, formulated or put into an action plan for you to follow for effective implementation. So going forward, what should we be expecting?
So, as Dinah said, the recommendation has been grouped into, and they have been input into the action plan. So now, from here, we have even started the activities that each sponsor will be able to accommodate, because, it goes with cost.
Right.
So each activity that a sponsor will be able to accommodate, we are starting to have that discussion with them. And then at the end of the day, if even there is no sponsor, GRA is ready to take up everything, because the project is for GRA.
Yes.
So from here, we are moving into the implementation stage, which the team, everybody is ready to move on.
By which time are we expecting effective implementation, swing into action fully? How soon?
Okay, so we are looking at doing stakeholder engagement, because this is actually a maiden document for which we are yet to engage our stakeholders on it.
Okay.
We presented the document for the first time during the World Customs International Customs Day. That was on 26th of January.
Yes.
So we actually looking at towards the end of February, we'll do stakeholder engagement to share the findings with everybody, and then also share copies of the document with them, possible publish it on our website, and then everybody can actually access it.
Right.
And right from there, we move into implementation.
Right.
And our donors, the ones we have been working with so far is a USAID. United States Agency for International Development, for which the project was run by Feed the Future.
Right.
That's Ghana Trade Investment Feed the Future. They were the ones who administered the project.
Right.
And we also had support from Ghana Link Network Services. So the donors have actually identified some of the recommendations for which they want to begin to sponsor implementation. So I think by March, we can begin talking about some of the recommendations, moving into action. And then we can begin to, maybe in the next couple of years, we can do an assessment, and then we'll be talking about maybe not 4 hours, but maybe 3 days for the seaport. And then maybe within a day for the airports, average.
Yes.
And then
few hours for apply.
I don't want to be overly ambitious and say that 4 hours from, because if we have an average of 10 days, I don't know whether it will be overly ambitious to just move to. So at least if we are able to slash that by 60%, that will be a lot of achievements.
All right, so those were some officials of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority revealing to us some of the outcomes of the time release study. We have your comments coming up next.
Hello, Iron Pot. This is Bobby from Ashaiman. Does the nature of cargo play a role in how quickly goods are cleared?
Yes. Yes, it does. We mentioned earlier that there are requirements, regulatory requirements. So there are some cargoes that require multi-agencies to for you to acquire permits from multi-government agencies.
Right.
There are some of them that do not. Again, there are some cargoes that, because of the risk selectivity, requires that they subject it to intrusive physical inspection.
Right.
And for those ones, there is possibility of some level of delay compared with those that are packed at one time, one homogeneous cargo that is packed that it is easy to do an inspection or just go through the scan. So the nature of cargo has some effect on the time it takes for clearance.
Hi, I'm Kudi from Nima. Good initiative by Customs. I look forward to the day clearance is less complex and done in a day. This could be a game changer for us and should be maintained. Kudos.
Iron Port returns after this break.
Ohima. No, maybe I take a number first.
But you have to say take the number, give me.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really?
Okay, I dey come.
Shut up!
Mame, feel me talking about what?
Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Fill up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him.
Hey, go for na buajungwa mami.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, streetlights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Welcome back from the break. Now, news and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next.
Vehicle manufacturing company Isuzu Motors is considering scaling up its operations in the ECOWAS region and is currently considering Ghana and another country in the sub-region as its main manufacturing hub in West Africa. One of the key requirements is a modern port that can efficiently and effectively handle their logistics and supply chain needs. Consequently, a team of directors and senior managers from Isuzu, South Africa, has visited Ghana on a fact-finding mission. They paid a visit to the management of the Port of Tema, where they discussed potential areas of collaboration. A supply chain executive at Isuzu Motors, South Africa, Tony Pena, said his outfit looks to Ghana as a strategic nation for investments in the automotive industry and is eager to see the role Ghana's port could play in this ambition.
The purpose of our visit here is to understand the operations of the Ghana port as we look to develop relations into West Africa and also develop networks to be able to distribute our product and components into these markets. So what we're primarily looking for in partners as we look in these areas is to have an efficient operation, which is not only world-class in terms of efficiencies, but is also competitive from a price perspective as we move product through these markets.
The director of Port Tema, Sandra Opoku, said the Port Authority is ready to consider customers on a case-by-case basis in terms of incentives in a bid to serve them satisfactorily.
Before, they've been sending some vehicles to Ghana already since 2016, and they haven't had any issues using Tema Port. But currently what they want to do is to come and actually set up shop in Ghana, which is on a bigger scale than what they were doing before. And as a Port Authority, we are ready to give them all the necessary support and also facilitate their coming in to set up shop.
The Ghana Port and Harbours Authority continues to demonstrate its commitment to the health and physical fitness of staff. The authority this year has resumed its quarterly health walks with a special call on the port community to shun the use of illicit drugs and alcohol abuse in their daily activities. The regular 3-kilometer walk and aerobic session was complemented by a health talk by medical officers of GPH's Health Services Department.
I spoke about the lifestyle diseases, mainly hypertension, diabetes, and high cholesterol. And we realized that this is causing a lot of complications to our clients, patients, and people around. And as part of that, that is why we had this walk, so that we will keep physically fit to prevent some of these complications on our body.
To summarize, I think we gave a good message to the workers of the port about exposing themselves, use of substances, sometimes known and unknown, in drinks, in bread or baked goods from the market, teas that they are preparing. We warn them of the dangers and of the no tolerance of drug abuse policy that the Port HR has taken up now. We give them really strong warnings that if they are found out, the consequences may be dire.
The director of Ports, Sandra Opoku, who joined the health work for the first time, commended the initiative and threw a challenge to staff to remain consistent in their fitness routine.
I've been sitting at my desk for a long time, so this is a wake-up call for myself, that the 30 minutes a day, even if it's 3 times a week, you have to do it. Sometimes you start giddy during the year, and then by March, you fizzle out. But let's be consistent and keep it up.
It's now time for some international port and maritime news.
Vital Bunkers and its logistics arm, V-Bunkers, have teamed up with Denmark-based tech company Zero North to enhance the efficiency of the bunkering process in Singapore through digitalization. Vital Bunkers, based in Singapore, will be among the first suppliers to embrace the use of an electronic bunker delivery note, which will eventually replace the physical documents that are currently still required. Zero North is one of the few companies that have been approved by Singapore's Maritime and Port Authority to provide this service.
It's now time for the phrase of the day.
Daily running cost refers to cost per day of operating a ship.
Now, schedules of vessels in the port, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate, you need to know to clear your goods from the port next. So this is where we draw the curtain on this week's episode of Eye on Port. Thank you for watching and thanks to the entire crew. Join us same time next week.